My holiday. Couple things as we get started this morning. We've got another group that's using this space at 9 o'clock. So we've done a good hour. We've got a nice agenda today and we'll get through everything. In here. Let's get started. Before I jump into things, I want to thank Ken Bates for sponsoring coffee this morning. Ken, if you want to say a few introductory words, that would be great.
I sure do. I've been sharing with the group here that I've never drank a cup of coffee in my life. See a little tea bag here. I drink a lot of tea, but I don't know how that happened. I do eat coffee ice cream. I don't know if that counts. But I just want to talk real quick about the Levitt Group because I know we're short on time. Levitt Group provides insurance services here in Durango, and we've been here for over 35 years. So we actually started back in the 1900s. But Levitt Group has 16 employees. We're out in Bodo. And for some of you that have been around Durango for a while, do you remember the old Bula building? Levitt Group is in that building and has been for many, many years. We don't only provide services here in La Plata County, obviously, but the Western Slope as well. And the Levitt Group is over 200 offices nationwide. We're in 27 states and adding more as we speak. Levitt Group is the 14th largest insurance firm in the country. So we're in good, we've got great support being here in Durango with a large insurance provider. Just a couple of things. We do provide business insurance, primarily work comp, property liability. We also do employee benefits. We've been doing that for a long time. We represent carriers like Anthem, United Healthcare, Cigna, and many others. We also do individual carriers as well. And for those of you that are not on group plans, you know how difficult the individual market is right now in La Plata County. And as we get closer to open enrollment, which will be January 1, I'll kind of maybe in our October meeting, bring you up to date on the individual insurance carriers, health insurance carriers that are exiting Plata County. And we have one coming in effective January 1. So I'll touch base on that. We also do a lot of Medicare education for those seniors. So if you know people that are turning 65 and they need help on Medicare as far as what to do, we're a great resource for that as well. And lastly, we do support a lot of nonprofits in our area. We're real big on supporting Durango High School sports. One of our part owners, Ryan Wolverton, has coached the high school football team for many years as an assistant coach. And we support a lot of golf tournaments. We know it seems like every weekend there's a golf tournament coming up. And we're really happy to be able to support those as well. So appreciate the few minutes here and let's get rolling. I'll support you providing the community for coffee today. First off, I want to see if there's anyone who this is their first time joining us. If you'd like to stand up and introduce yourself.
All right. Good morning. My name is Buck Taylor, a longtime resident in Bayfield. Really excited to announce we're launching our company Sasquatch Seal Coating. We recently bought the assets from a local asphalt contractor for their maintenance division. And so we have a super deep resource pool, a lot of good referral partners, but wanted to come and make myself a part of this group. And next time I'll have some business cards and things like that. I'm struggling with my marketing department, so. This is my wife, Carol.
Your marketing stone is actually have a full-time job. I'm on top of things, don't worry.
Super excited. Great launch of the new company, and you guys will see us out there quite a bit.
People who start.
Let's call it.
Anyone else want for
16 teams that compete at the NCAA Division II level, about 500 student athletes. I've been here for a little over a year and excited about our mission of graduating champions. Glad to be here.
I wanted them to go first, but I'm Shay. I work with Insight Lime Analytics, a data analysis company here in Durango. Nice to see everyone.
Yes, I'm Erin Jolly. I'm with the La Plata Food Equity Coalition. I'm gonna speak at the very end a little bit about why I'm here, but glad to see you all.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. A couple updates from a board level. We did not meet last week. It was the 4th of July holiday week, so we're planning to meet tomorrow. Mike and I were just catching up on just the finances of the organization continue to be in great shape. Really a solid place both financially and programmatically. Continue a lot of work around our housing initiatives. Give some updates tomorrow. Also, many of you may have read, some of you approached me today. I accepted a position over in Montezuma County, leading Southwest Memorial Hospital or Southwest Health System. So that role for me will start in a couple of weeks. One of the things we'll talk about as a board tomorrow is how to effectively transition some of the roles and responsibilities I've had with the Alliance. We've got a great board, so I'm really confident in our ability to transition things and support Mike and the organization. And obviously, we've got a tremendous staff doing great work. So I will continue to see you coming and going. Our family is going to both reside where we do today in La Plata County. I'll take up a second residence over in Cortez, and depending on where I'm most needed, whether it's family or work, I'll be between both communities and throughout Southwest Colorado. So excited to continue to see all of you and for my family to grow. I wanted to make sure if I don't see you next month, from me. So with that, it's on the Alliance.
Right.
Joe, congratulations. I know it's a phenomenal opportunity for you and your family. I know it wasn't an easy decision, but leave us in great hands and thank you for all you've done for us. Really appreciate it. Proposition 123, as you guys may know, it passed in 2022. It earmarked $300 million at the state level to infuse some monies for affordable housing. The communities that are eligible are municipalities, some not-for-profits, of course, housing authorities. Communities have to opt in, and there's some requirements in order to get the money. It's a competitive process, so it's not distributed equally or by demographics or by population. The competitive process is an application, and the strings attached are they're looking for a 3% lift in affordable housing year over year. And there's a baseline that people are, when they opt in, a baseline that they're identifying, and then they have to expedite or have some kind of fast track in terms of affordability planning. So there will be a session on Thursday sponsored by CHAPA. CHAPA is going to administer about 60% of the funds. So we're very fortunate to have a very strong CHAPA presence here, which bodes us very well. But the group is coming in here from state representatives on Thursday, and they'll do an all-day informational session at the Durango Rec Center. They'll focus on the policies, the programs, and the legislation, as well as funding to come. So one of the things that we're really excited about in standing up this Catalyst Fund, so we're probably going to look for matching funds as well, right? So I think we're a step ahead in that standpoint. Mortgage rates are continuing to climb. This is the largest rate that we've seen since November, so 7 months. And hopefully it goes down to the right, but chances are it's going to continue to creep a little bit, especially with interest rates. The Feds have signaled that they're likely going to increase the interest rates another quarter point next time they meet. And what we've historically seen is that the interest rates sort of follows the Feds. This, of course, puts pressure on the buyers, but we have Logan Austin here to talk a little bit about June housing data, so I'm not going to get into that very much. A reminder is the summit is scheduled for September 20th, so please mark your calendars. We will have tickets available towards the end of this month in July. We're figuring out what that platform is going to look like, whether we're going to keep the platform that we used last year. It was pretty convenient for the end users. It was a little bit more problematic for us, so we're going to decide whether we go with a third-party platform or keep the one that we have. We'll make that decision this week and then start to put the brand up and then have tickets available. Make an announcement to the general members when that happens. Sponsors are rolling in. We're really excited about that. We think we're going to be close to the same level as we were last year. And if you guys remember last year, we sold out with a week to go. We kind of expect the same thing. And the format will be likely the same. The difference will be we're going to rally around this opportunity now, which is the grant that we just won with FLC. If you were at last month's meeting, you heard Tom Strickis talk about that opportunity. Focused on micro grants for industry by industry. So we'll really launch that with subject matter experts that we're bringing in to help us with that. I have one more thing. We get a new chairman circle member in. Thank you, Ezra Lee, for coming in. And Ezra represents multiple organizations, but you guys might know Crossfire Aggregate and Farm Fresh. We're really excited about the opportunity to potentially have a new food store in this space. So that will bring in over 100 jobs if we're able to get that going. And we're excited to work with Ezra on how that happen. I think it'd be great for the community all the way around. So with that, I will turn it back over to Joe. Thank you, Joe.
First up to talk to us today is Reedy Black from Durango Fire Protection District.
All right.
Sorry, I'm setting my timer. I know we're, I don't want to make sure talk. Everybody's turning, so I'm literally setting my stopwatch here. My name is Randy Black. I'm the Deputy Chief of Durango Fire, and appreciate the opportunity to update everybody today on a couple of topics that we were asked to cover. The first one is the status of our downtown fire station, and the second is wildfire update, as we obviously had a dramatic turn in our weather recently. So I'm going to talk really quick, and I will try to make sure everybody can hear. I'm going to talk about 3 minutes for the fire station, allow some questions, about 3 minutes on wildfire questions, and then I actually have to get to a board meeting that starts in 15 minutes. So I'm under the same timeline you are. So we'll see how we do here. So at the end of this, I know these will be available. My email is here, so if I do dart through things too quick or you have questions, please feel free to email me at any point and ask questions. So those of you that have been under a rock for the last 5 or so years, don't know that we've made a number of huge mistakes trying to find a fire station. We've been at River City Hall since 1982, and it was a temporary location that they had put the fire station until interestingly enough, it was actually, we used to be co-housed with the police department up on 2nd Avenue prior to that. One of our challenges is we were in River City Hall, which is a city-owned building, and there's city services in there as well. So we were trying to figure out how we could make that all work. We've had multiple attempts to find a new location during the last 7 to 8 years. We reached out after being unsuccessful to find a place, purchased the 9R building, thought we were going to be able to build there, and we're really excited, and we were wrong. Found out that was not something the public wanted us to see. So we went back to the city, engaged with an MOU in 2022, reached an agreement this year, and that should be closing sometime soon, and we will be moving forward. So to give you a rough idea, and again, I'm going quick, this is kind of the new layout of the fire station. River City Hall currently sits about right here, to give you a rough idea. We're not changing anything with the intersection. We're not changing anything with the access to any of the businesses. We've actually met with Bennett Backcountry, with West at Prohibition Herb. We've met with Powerhouse Board. We've met with Speeds, talking about the underpass. We've met with all the neighbors. Nothing's changing. The access is the same. Parking's staying the same. Actually, it's improving. So the neighbors are happy. Life's good for everybody in that area. To give you a quick flow, the bays will all be south facing now. So we've got sun coming on. We don't have to worry about ice as much, and they'll come out and come up and feed into Camino in that location. We've got parking in this area. This is all public parking that will be available nights and weekends for Powerhouse for the public to be able to be on the river trail. These spaces that formerly were occupied by the community developments employees will all be available to the public, as well as the spaces that are along here. So we've actually increased the public parking in the area pretty substantially, as well as being able to leave all the fire station. So rough plan, but the bays are here, the fire station's over the top, and then fire administration will be on the top floor, and fire prevention will be on the lower floor here. So this will be the base of operations for the fire station. And I would say hot off the press, except we've already changed the plans. We haven't really released these all the way. This is one of the first 3D renderings. This is the south facing. This would be the river side. Looking at the building, you can see the architects have paid a lot of attention to this look. Really representing and supporting the Powerhouse and some of the designs of downtown, while being different in that. So again, that's the south face of the building. That's the Camino side, and there will be parking. Obviously, we're updating it to stuff. See them. And that would be the riverside, and actually that whole elevation has dropped a little bit in the plans. We estimate the closing on this property in October of this year. By the time we get the subdivision completed and get through major site plan review, design review boards, going through all that, which all have public meeting processes. In addition, we've got another public input section that's Powerhouse Board graciously allowed us to use their facilities. So July 26th, that will be on our website. There will be a media release with that coming out soon. We'd love to have people come. We've had one session already where people gave some input on colors and components, things they'd like to see in the station. So we're going to continue to work on that. Our goal, if everything lines up right, would be to start construction November of this year. Any questions on the fire station? Well, that was fast. Yes, sir.
Any thoughts about putting a bridge out the back over to Lewis Ave?
No. And the reason no is the same. We get asked about the underpass a lot.
Yeah.
We're the fire department. We're building a fire station. When you're talking about passes, trails, that stuff, that's the city department. We've met with them, talked with them. There's nothing that we've done that's prohibiting any of the other plans that have been discussed. And there's actually already a bridge across right there, but putting a vehicle bridge across there to get to Rusa. We did look at that at one point from a vehicle access standpoint. We were trying to combine with the police department, and it was really expensive to do that. So no, don't want to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Did you say the admin is moving?
Yes.
There from Bodo as
Yep.
well?
So in Bodo will stay our training division, which the training tower's there, the training division. But we've already outsized that building. We're stacked up. Our medical director is literally in an office or in a closet right now is where his office is. Prevention's expanding, so we'll be selling that building. We've done our prevention building. It's the Bodo part. We will be downtown at that site. That will be business operations. Any other questions? Right, I'm jumping into wildfire. I'm just going to talk quick. Obviously, we had a fantastic winter, one of the best ones we've had in quite a while. Everybody was really excited. We had this great big winter with snow. We still have passes that are closed up in the high country, a lot of snow in the air, which is great. We had a cool spring. Things were looking fantastic for everything except our wildland budget that was not looking fantastic. Like we were willing to take that hit. And then the switch got flipped and we went hot, dry, and windy fast. Anybody that didn't see, we went into stage 1 fire restrictions on Monday of this week. It's possible we won't even get the criteria to go into stage 2 within the next couple of weeks. You can go to the Durango Fire and the Plata County websites for access to what's restricted, what's allowed in the fire restrictions. But it's definitely been a significant change in the weather pattern, that we've had to jump into. The forecasters that kind of run in the background are predicting that our monsoons are supposed to start in about 10 days. But as you know, at the beginning of the monsoon, it starts with dry lightning, and that is not what we need right now, as dry and windy as it's been, so that's not a helpful thing. I've got 4 slides, and I can overlap them, and it's like, I know you can't read these, I'm not asking you to. The thing that you need to understand, red is bad, yellow is less bad, green is good. You don't see any green on here. What you see is red. So Wednesday of this week is actually our worst fire danger that we've got lined up. This is actually data from yesterday. You can see as they start forecasting, they're looking at upper level and lower levels, and there's a whole bunch of data points here about the type of tool they look at the modeling that I don't have time to get into. But I did want to show you a couple of things. Horse Park fire hit right here, East Canyon fire hit right here, Toe fire that was on just south of Cortez hit this part, and right now we're up here. So we are primed right now, even with the amount of moisture that we had, even with the rain, even with the cool temps, even with the humidity and everything we've had, we're not in a great spot. This is the mark, it says today, which was yesterday. Again, these are the marks of the different fires. There's East Canyon and there's Horse Park. So we're getting in a pretty sketchy, dangerous part of time. 416 fire and the Ice Lakes fire, we were up here, we're here, but you can see I burned good, less good, bad. We're heading for bad. So we're really wanting that pattern to change. We've got 23 people on our wildland team this year. We've got 4 full-times, the rest are seasonals to come in and help with that. We've got a fantastic partnership with the State Division of Prevention and Fire Control, with the feds, with the other resources. So we feel like we're set up really good. One of the numbers that was in there was the PL number was 4. 1 is like nothing's happening, all's good in the world. 5 is Armageddon. 5 is where we were with 416, or 5 is where we were 416 fire hit. We're at 4 right now. So things are pretty sketchy. We're asking people to fire safe to make good decisions, to try to be limiting everything that they can to try to deal with any ignition sources. So any questions on wildland?
Awesome.
I ran too over. All right, thank you very much. I have to get to a board meeting. Please email me.
Thanks, Randy. If Shauna were here, Lagarza, she'd remind us that there is no fire season, there's just a season. So it's a good reminder for Randy about the change in weather and what it means for us. Next, we've got Laura Lewis Machino from Region 9, Vice States.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. I'll go, whoops, not that quick. So I'm going to talk about a new enterprise zone boundary amendment and some other cool updates because of the fire update. I thought we would remember what it was like this winter. What I wanted to talk about is midtown Durango is now enterprise zone eligible. And just for any of you who may have a business in this location, I have some other maps I can show you. I have some flyers that you can pick up so you can have information on how you can utilize this resource. But I want to thank Tommy Crosby with the city of Durango. Due to all of the work that they have done to look at Midtown, which also includes the new fire station and new city civic center plans, there are now tax credit opportunities that we can pursue. So really quick, an enterprise zone is designated by Colorado statute. They decide what areas of the state are considered distressed. And our region does meet some of the distress criteria based on different census tracts, which I'll talk about. And that's how the Midtown is now eligible, because when they updated the data, that location was eligible and we can now apply and utilize that. But enterprise zone also, besides providing state income tax credits to businesses, also provides them to nonprofit projects. And the distress criteria is based on 5 different criteria. I mentioned 3 here because those are the 3 that always change, or unemployment, out-migration, per capita income. One of the criteria is being rural, and so far that has not changed. So let me talk a little bit about Region 9's role. Is basically there are 14 regions in Colorado, and we were mandated to do the Southwest region, and not really mandated, but the state has several enterprise zones that we manage our region for the state of Colorado. We certify all the business certifications. We work with all the businesses that have questions. If any of you have talked to Terry Blair Burton in our office, she's our enterprise zone administrator. We also work with all the accountants and businesses on the tax credits, questions. The accountants call us to see if an address is in. That's also available on our state website, but that's a little bit of our responsibilities. I don't like this map, except that it shows you the enterprise zones throughout Colorado. And we're the Southwest, and you can see there's a lot of white in our area. Those are not eligible. So it's primarily rural, but based on the statute designated data, a lot of La Plata County has not been eligible. And that's because we're not considered distressed compared to the Eastern Plains, et cetera. Let me show you, this is actually our region. The pink is not eligible. And how this is determined is every 10 years, the state looks at their data and the eligibility criteria, and they look at the county as a whole. So if your county meets the criteria, your whole county is in. As you can see, San Juan, Dolores, no surprise, they're considered distressed. They're in. Montezuma's in. They looked at La Plata, they did not meet the distress criteria as a county. So then they go by individual census tracts. And the census tracts get smaller as you get closer to more population. So I'll show you a Durango map, but basically there's 2 census tracts that are not eligible in Archuleta, 13 in La Plata County. I always say I'm grateful we have some. Sorry. So this is the criteria map. Not that you can read it, but it basically, we have to have 3 yeses for that census tract to be in the zone. And so that's done every 10 years. But every year we relook at that data. They put out new data and we see if any of those no's become yeses. And that's what's happened in Durango. If it becomes a yes, we have to apply to the state to include it out of the 10-year cycle. And that's where I think the city of Durango, because there is all these efforts to improve that area, and that's how it got added. There are sometimes areas, North La Plata County in the forest land where we're not doing anything, and they're like, no, too bad, you have to wait till the 10-year cycle. So this is Durango, and as you can see, the census tracts, I take no credit for census tracts. That's a whole nother issue, but the green is in. So to give you kind of a ballpark, this is Bodo. Bodo is not in. South Durango is in. And now this is the new Midtown section right here. This is Fort Lewis College. This is Main, Camino del Rio, the river. This is not in. This starts about 15th Street where you turn off, where Camino and Main sort of intersect. It is not in all the way up until 29th Street. And then we're in again along Main and up into the north. So now you can see why it's confusing. If you have a business you think is in the green, let us know because you can be eligible for tax credits. This is the Midtown area specifically. That was their Midtown map, and it completely matches the new eligible areas. So it was so much fun to have all of that information, and they gave us a big fat yes to add it. So why is this important? There are 9 different tax credits that businesses, just because they're physically in those locations, are eligible for. I'm just going to go over a couple. Investment tax credit. You purchase equipment for your business, whether it's an office computer, whether it's a copier, whether it's manufacturing equipment, not office supplies, it has to be equipment. You calculate that, you get 3% off your state income tax for your investment in your business. Job training, you have to send somebody to some certification training, that can be a credit. Also new employees, if you add positions to your company, it's $1,100 for each new employee that you add. And it's positions, not people. So you can't count people that you change, you just count numbers of positions, and it's full-time equivalents. So something like purgatory, you know, they have to do their full-time equivalents. And then there's a lot of others. So that's why I have the flyer, because I know you're gonna have questions that I don't have time to answer. Please take that and follow up with us. And then I also wanted to let you know we're doing a business training, not just for businesses that might be being added with this new edition, but also if you had no idea that this was a thing and want to learn about it. It's a Zoom training, and again, I didn't put it on here because that's not helpful. If you tried to copy a Zoom link, so call us, we will email you the calendar announcement, and you can get that on your calendar. It'll be Thursday, the 20th, just for an hour. And of course, we will work with you however we can. Just know if you work with a accounting firm in town, like Tafoya Barrett, I'm not, can I say that? They will set you up for these enterprise zone credits as well. You're already a customer. So basically, you have to pre-certify, and that's what we're going to talk about in the training. The state has no idea that you're now in the zone or that you haven't utilized these credits. So that's something you have to do on your own in order to start claiming these credits. You can't just claim them when they have no idea where your business is located. And I also just wanted to give you a couple of highlights. This is a really busy week, so if you have nothing to do, there are 3 all-day meetings you can attend. Mike already mentioned the second one, which is Housing Colorado's Engagement Forum. They're doing 5 across the state. That's on Prop 123. They're going to have all the agencies in town to talk housing from 9 to 3 at the rec center. This top one is a regional infrastructure summit. You may know that there is a lot of federal and state funding coming down for infrastructure. Governments are very excited because they need to redo water sewer. We need broadband, lots of other things. So this is going to be at Fort Lewis College, and it's tomorrow. And right now you can still attend, it's free, but you won't get lunch because you missed the RSVP deadline. But that summit is primarily focused at governments and special districts because they're looking at large scale infrastructure projects. And then if you don't have enough to do Club 20, which is 20 counties in Western Colorado that kind of work collaboratively to have some legislative power, will be meeting in Pagosa Springs. And they will be discussing behavioral health. There's a session on broadband that Matt Salk is speaking on. They'll talk transportation, education, workforce. So if you're interested in that, that is also free to attend, and you pay $10 for lunch. That's this Wednesday and Thursday. So just wanted to let you know about some of those activities. And then a final kudos. How many of you heard about Rural Philanthropies that was hosted in Durango? So that's an every 4-year event that we get in our region. And this is another way to bring a lot of funding into our region because we get private foundations out of their offices in Denver or wherever and bring them to our communities. So there were over 350 participants. They sold out. It's mainly nonprofits. They represented all 5 counties, as you can see. It's basically they're raising money just to hold this event. So raised over $60,000 to pay for the different facilities, the tours, things like that. They had 22 different workshops for our nonprofits, such as grant writing, things like that. And then did some tours of some of our communities and took funders to the communities, showed them projects that they had funded and also upcoming needs that they have. So this is also going to result hopefully in a lot more money coming into our area. And I just wanted to acknowledge on top, Tiffany Watterson and Beth Kramer were the co-chairs. Beth Kramer is the equivalent of Mike up in San Juan County. And Tiffany Watterson is our grant writer. So we are really happy to support this effort. And I hope that we see the results. Any questions? I'm all done, and please see me if you need it.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks for all your work in the region. Next up, we've got Logan to give us a little bit more in-depth updates on real estate.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate the invites. I will try to make my presentation a little more during the wildfire, but my graphs are generally the same when it comes to real estate. As you can see, I wear quite a few hats, not just the day-to-day. Those are with Keller Williams. I'm also Government Affairs Committee Chair with the local association. I sit on the state board and I sit on their legislative policy committee, Association of Realtors. And jumping right into it, we're going to look at some data. Our four main metrics are going to be median sold price, or sold listings, new listings, and active listings. We will be having the DAR stat coming out hopefully by this weekend. So keep eyes out for those in the paper. They promised me Saturday, but don't hold me to it. I know I'm pretty busy trying to aggregate all that data for you guys, but keep eyes out for that. You get more of the year-to-date trends. But as you can see, for Plata County as a whole versus 22, median sales price continues to creep up. This is all based on single family homes. So those condos, townhomes aren't within this data set, and you'll see some more of that when the dark quarterlies come out. But you can see it really translates to inventory. We are getting a little bit better on inventory, but those numbers need to grow significantly to keep up with our solds. Anytime you're just outselling what's coming new to market, you're always going to have this pressure on buyers. As Mike showed earlier, one of the big challenges is the cost of money. So when you've got a 6.8% interest rate and you're trying to get into a home that could be in the 7s, 8s, or even the 6s, that's a significant amount of pressure for a buyer when it comes to really what most people focus on when they're purchasing real estate. That's the affordability on a monthly basis and what can I afford as far as the payment goes. You can see here jumping into our in-town stats. So again, just focusing on single family in town. 5% year over year, so not a huge jump with the median sold price. And looking at the inventory metrics, those are even worse as far as what we have available in town for single family homes. Even though we're not jumping significantly in our median sold prices, you can see that that pressure again on buyers is a challenge with the lack of available things just to purchase. Even if you have money today in your pocket, it's still a pretty competitive market when it comes to the Durango in-town offerings. Things are priced appropriately. We are still seeing multiple offers within the marketplace. We're still seeing, 2-3 days prior to things going under contract. So as a buyer, you have to be very aggressive and well positioned if you're going to compete. I've spoken to our friends at Land Title. One thing that we've seen a dip in, which I don't have a stat for, but I'll tell you, cash acquisitions has actually dropped as well. And that was a big driving force in the competitiveness within our market over 21, 22, because we just had so much cash coming into our market. At one point, it was above 40% of all acquisitions were cash. Now that's dipping back down to about 35. So you see how that changes throughout the year. My personal theory is when the stock market was skyrocketing, a lot of people had a little bit of cream off the top that they could then diversify out, take those funds, come into marketplaces such as ours, and they would be acquiring either second or third homes or investment properties, which is further stressing those who live, work here to compete in that marketplace when they're trying to get a loan. Jumping to our other metric, we've got Bayfield in town. Bayfield's been a pretty unique market over the past few years. As some of you may know, we think of Bayfield as kind of a secondary bedroom community that helps support Durango. Of course, Bayfield has a lot going on for itself. As far as their inventory, though, they have significant inventory challenges as well. And more importantly, their pricing. Previous month in May was even higher than it was in June. This basically related to what was purchased in that month. You can see 485 or even 470, that's roughly $100,000 or more median price than it was in 20 and 21. So the Bayfield market itself as being this affordable option in La Plata County is not quite the case anymore. Even in the Bayfield rural market, we're seeing a lot of increases in pricing there. Again, the challenge being that inventory. We've heard a couple of times with what Ignacio Bayfield are doing from private public partnership standpoint. So with some pretty significant development plans coming through the next few years, we might start to catch up as far as their infill and available units within that marketplace. Clover Meadows is getting built out, that other phase. The north side of 550 is going through planning, so those could add a lot of units, which in the future could maybe change the Bayfield market a little bit. When you've got really 12 things coming to market within 1 month, I mean, that's pretty trickle out as far as overall inventory goes. That makes it a challenge. Right now, it's looking, I've got clients who feel comfortable at 5 to 550 in Bayfield, which to me is kind of mind blowing because 2-3 years ago, 350 was kind of a standard there. So we're starting to see some pretty crazy pricing increases there. And then one thing I always look at as realtor is I look at my feeder markets. This slide is my heritage title, which I've got some associates up there in the Denver area. This is our Metro Denver market snapshot, and this is for June as well. Typically, Durango is a little bit of a lag on Denver. Denver's obviously big metropolitan, tracks a little bit more with the national, but it does give us an idea of what may come our way. As you can see, we're starting to see a little bit of pricing drops. And more importantly, I think the base metric, when you can tell things are starting to shift, is your list price to sales price ratios. That's a big indicator of buyers having a little bit more strength in negotiation when it comes time to put things on paper. So looking at a big market and seeing that it's now 4%, whereas this time last year, everybody was still roughly 100, if not 101%, which effectively indicated everything was above ask. Right now, La Plata County is probably around 98, 97% list price to sales price ratios. So we are starting to see a little bit of a scale tip towards the buyers in our marketplace as well, but not quite as significant. And as you can see too, we haven't really seen appreciation in the prices just to begin with, like Denver is. So still a little bit of an open debate on what's going to happen in the long term. The numbers are obviously scalable, even though you see, wow, 4,000 active listings. That's obviously for a major area with super high density and population. So those ratios really don't matter much when you look at those numbers. But you can see they've got the same challenges as far as the year over year, down in every metric as far as active, new, and closed, even though they are putting new stuff on market. So the sellers, I think, still hold a little bit of the bag, so to speak, but not as much. One thing we're starting to see in our marketplace a lot more is market adjustments or price corrections as things sit on the market for 30 to 45 days. Sellers have to get a little bit more real, we'll say, try to have them get that conversation on the front end, but it's a challenge. And then we're starting to see a lot of transactions fall out of contract, which again indicates that buyers can have a little bit more of a leverage position where a seller may not have 2 or 3 people sitting in backup, where they can just simply say, I don't care what works this property has, you deal with it or I'm going on to the next one. So shows a little bit of a balance in our market. It's still tough out there for sure. Hopefully things like Prop 123 and some other initiatives that we're doing on the long-term time horizons can start to help a lot of things in the pipeline from a development standpoint. Most of the units are going to be rentals, but at the same time, there's been approvals on some bigger stuff out in the Free Springs side. Let's say too. Of course, we'd all love to see a major expansion with that with Posted Road annexation. If that could happen, there's a lot of funds and a lot of ideas that could really create a lot more density and hopefully help our units, because that's really the biggest challenge right now is what we have available for people to purchase. And cost of money is not going to get any cheap anytime soon, unfortunately. That's somewhat of the bag we're just kind of left with in county. If you guys got any questions, feel free to reach out. Available to chat anytime. Love having coffee, talk real estate, of course. Appreciate you guys' time.
Thanks for diving in a little bit and also giving us a sense of how our local market compares to. All right, we'll move on to some updates from cities, counties. Start coming off from the county.
Thanks for the 7-year-old photo. There's a lot of familiar faces in the room here, but for those who don't, either Kevin Hall and currently the deputy county manager with La Plata County. I just started that role in early June. Last fall, I left the position for the city of Durango after 21 years, of which 6 of those years were as a community development director. I got a call from Chuck Stevens in December. He said, "Hey, I lost my community development director. Can you stand in for 4 months?" I said yes, and here we are now, 7 months in, and I have a permanent position with the county. But I'm really excited because I got to work with what is admittedly a challenging community development process, planning process with the county. I've learned a lot in the last 7 months about what's going on there. It's probably not many of you that there's been a lot of staffing challenges at the county. Certainly, I'm sure everyone here, certainly following the discussion on real estate, it's difficult to find staff. Since January, we lost 2 more staff, but we added 4 staff, and they're all good people and eager to get going in the system. We're still down 3 planners, and our new director isn't going to start until July 31st. At that point, I'm going to kind of shift more into the deputy director position for the county. But what's unique and what's ideal is I get to stick around and help mentor the director into the position. I have a pretty good set of fresh eyes on the system and some of the things we need to do in the coming months and years to kind of move the program to where it should be. I've worked with a lot of the folks in this room and others about some of the backlogs, and I know Mike and I have had some really interesting conversations about project backlog and applications and interest in development. And we recognize the difficulty it creates when we have such a backlog. But I'll tell you that I have 5 planners managing not quite 200 projects. We see 20 new applications monthly coming in, and we can't do it with 5 planners, so we need to continue to fill our planning positions. We have 1 open right now. Lynn Hyde, who will be our new director starting July 31st, comes to us from a position in Bozeman. However, she's been living in Durango since 2019. She grew up in a farm in a rural area of Idaho, so she has a little bit of sense of what La Plata County is all about, having lived here, as well as growing up on a farm. We're super excited to have her. She'll also be on a big learning curve to understand the county's land use process, but certainly looking forward to having her join the team. One more piece of the puzzle to fill. We're going to continue to advertise for positions. I will tell you, while the county overall has seen more applications in the last 6 months than typical for jobs across the organization, planning one is tough because statewide there's so many planning positions available, even nationally. So it's a tough market out there. And when you see these real estate numbers, folks are not able to make numbers crunch for themselves. So what we're seeing is a really small number of applications. What I've been doing over the last 4 months with the 4 people we did add is few of those had good planning credentials, but some of them just had really good foundational skills, good communication skills, good analytic skills. We'll take them, and if they're here, and we'll roll into the positions, teach them how to do the work. But it's tough. The other thing that we're doing while we're trying to fill these positions is we brought on consultant services in January to help us with the backlog. The firm we brought on was a kind of a quick grab to have us help out with our projects. They don't have the capacity to look at what we need. So we're going out and we have a request for proposal on the street right now to find a firm that has capacity and background to allow for us to use them to reduce our backlog, increase the responsiveness, reduce the amount of time that folks are having to wait. We know it's a problem for everybody. We know it's a problem for the community. It's an economic development problem. So I'm optimistic with everything that's been going on over the last 7 months that we're heading in the right direction, that we're going to make progress towards improving what is admittedly a bit of a challenge. But we've already made significant steps and we'll continue to do so in the months and quite frankly, years to come. It's going to take a while. We have land use code amendments that need to continue to happen. As you know, we're not a zoned county, one of the very few in the state of Colorado that isn't zoned. We're working towards maybe not zoning traditional to what you see around the state, but some form of changes to improve the land use system overall so that we can be more responsive, more efficient, more effective in terms of the process. We're going to continue to move that forward as I jump into my new position. One of the other things I will be doing is working closely with the county commissioners on our housing program, the Regional Housing Alliance, the Urban Renewal Authority. Certainly this organization has another special project. So I think that's what you were looking for, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate your time, and certainly anyone can reach out to me at any time if you have any questions.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for your work. Welcome to your new town hall. Commissioner Salkat.
Have a couple updates here. Matt Salko, Potter County Commissioner. Just a couple weeks ago, we did a ribbon cutting ceremony for Marvel out there. We now have a water fill station out there for the dry side to be able to fill up their water. The other item too as well, we are doing on the road tours in Potter County, and our next stop is Wednesday, tomorrow in Breen at the community center there. Weather radar station is on track. Construction is here to happen around between August and October. The project is on track to be finished by the end of this year. Broadband, I have unfortunate news. We did not receive the $6 million from NTIA. The sad part about that is the state of Colorado only received $2 million. So Colorado did not get any love from NTIA whatsoever. What we're now focused on, and I want to thank Region 9 for all their support. They've been instrumental in being able to help us to receive funding. Our big picture is to focus on Region 9, 5 counties, to be able to focus on the middle mile redundancy concerns. Archuleta County has been down 3 times. That is when you pick up the phone on your mobile cell phone or on your landline, you're not going to be able to call when there is a fiber cut somewhere. So our focus is on making sure that if there's an emergency, you'll be able to call. And that goes for Bayfield. There's Bayfield too as well. Most of northern Bayfield was out too as well during that one fiber cut. So what we're focusing on is there is capital funds available through the state, 171 million. And then also BEAD funding that's going to the state for 825 million. So a ton of money coming in. We're really going to be fighting hard, working alongside with Region 9 to be able to get as much funds as possible for my focus, Potter County, as well as our neighboring counties to work and focus on that redundancy concern. The other item too on a broadband is I just submitted a new legislation bill to be reviewed. I'll be presenting to Club 20 on Thursday. And then to our legislation organization, which is Colorado Counties Incorporated, to remove annual fees in the CDOT right away. And what's happening right now is that they're reviewing annual fees for anyone that wants to put broadband in that right away. If you started adding up, if we got the funding from NTIA, we would be focused around $300,000 a year to pay CDOT to have access to provide high-speed internet to our businesses and homes. Not attainable. That will kill all projects in our counties. So with that, removing those fees on this legislation bill that I submitted, what that does is, for example, a gas company comes in, they put their gas line in, they're not paying those fees every year. They pay their permitting fee, done, end of story. So it should be the same for broadband. So let's focus on the governor's executive order to provide high-speed internet to homes and businesses by 2027. If we remove those fees, we could potentially attain that. So focusing on this legislation year. So I look forward to any feedback on that. If you have any concerns, please reach out to me anytime. The other item too as well is our roads, road and bridge. We hear that from the county residents. So right now, you go to our county website, you can actually see what projects are happening in La Plata County. Whatever county road you live on, you can see when they'll be blading, grading, mag chloriding your county road. It has reduced 50% of our call volume, which is great, great news. And you can see when a road project will happen in your area. The other item is County Health Department. Moving forward, the County Health Department Board is meeting very regularly, getting updated, working on programs, and be prepared for 1/1 of 2024. The other item too as well is as of today, we'll be potentially updating our fire code from 2003 to 2015. So that will make that decision here hopefully today at 10 o'clock. But if you have any questions or comments or concerns, you can reach out to me anytime. I'm available to meet with you if you have any issues you want to discuss. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Commissioner Salka, Mayor.
Yes,
From nothing.
real quick, ICD, July 22nd, Foxfire Farms, it's a Saturday, 4 p.m. It's the Summer Art Series. Come on out, mingle with some artists, have some wine, enjoy that time. Second, just a public service announcement, Tony Hartwig, if you know him, in 1983, you saw that earlier, he joined the Animas Fire District. And yesterday was his last day. He retired after 40 years of service. And so, hats off to our firemen, our first responders. Want to let you know that if you know him and his family are moving to Grand Junction. And so that's all I got. Thanks. Oh, Bayfield, lights out on the July 4th stuff. Good job.
But I never know though.
So Bayfield Town staff will be presenting at the food business funding event put on by the Good Food Collective on Tuesday, July 18th. From 3 to 4 at the Bayfield Library, mostly to discuss our plans to preserve our agricultural heritage in town. We have 2 new developments under construction. Mustang Crossing has started their phase 1A that includes 19 single-family homes or lots. Orchard Development has submitted for 2 more building permits. They are constructing 9 cottage-style single-family units and 5 townhomes. And our Marlin Tiny Home Village is complete, and they are seeking applications for up to 15 tiny homes. It's adorable if you haven't seen it. We were just awarded $2 million from the Division of Housing for the Transformational Affordable Housing Grant for our Cinnamon Heights project. Bad news is we asked for 2.7. So we'll be seeking grant monies through the Strong Communities Infrastructure Grant to fill in that gap. And finally, we're asking for $3 million in congressionally directed spending for the Highway 160 East intersection. We did get Boberg, Hickenlooper, and Bennett to all sign off on that. So hopefully we will have an update late August, early September on that project. All right. And yes, 4th of July was a hit. Thank you. We did put out our little fun.
Hi, I'll be quick, sorry. The Creative Economy Commission awarded its 2nd round of lodgers tax funding to 18 projects a couple weeks ago. Now, since its inception in 2022, we've awarded over $1 million through the lodgers tax, our arts and culture program, which is super exciting. The 2nd round as well, all the artists, businesses will have access to our 3-part business training to enhance how they do business and they can get trained on all that. So it's super exciting that they'll have access to that. I don't need to talk about our Midtown Enterprise Zone because Laura did already. Perfect. West Slope Startup Week is taking place here in Durango, August 21st through the 25th. It's a week-long conference for entrepreneurs, small business owners, makers, techies, and more. You can attend 40 free educational workshops and networking events. Midtown Peak Grant is open. If you're in that Midtown area, access up to $50,000 to help improve exterior improvements and whatnot. Housing, the Animas City Park Overlook project was awarded the Honor Award for Innovative Partnerships and Collaboration. It is the highest award given and will be presented during the upcoming annual APA Colorado Chapter Conference Award ceremony in late September. That project also, they just closed on 3 of the deed restricted houses. And I believe all 3 were under $400,000. And so that's super exciting. 5 businesses have now been certified through the Green Business Certification Program administered by Corps and supported by the city of Durango. So that's great. And then finally, community engagement. Building community, exploring city planning and architectural through film will be presented its 2nd film, Urbanize, a panel discussion on July 19th at the Powerhouse. Doors open at 5 and all are welcome. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be super quick. My name is Erin Jolly. I'm from the Laconic Food Equity Coalition. I was asked by Tommy Crosby to take his spot because he would normally be doing this, but the Food Business Work Group, we're a kind of a congregation of different organizations working to support our underserved food business owners in La Plata County. We did a survey this last spring to find out what are the biggest needs and challenges. And we have this kind of report here if anybody is interested to learn that our food businesses are struggling with finding commercial kitchens, food sourcing, marketing, and accessing all of the amazing resources, like people in this room. People are struggling to actually access them because of their language barriers or because they're more rural and some of these services are more Durango centric. So we are attempting to overcome these challenges by creating a resource list that will be available online. We're connecting businesses with local grants, funding opportunities, incentives, such as our food business funding event that we're having in Bayfield, which was already mentioned. It's going to be next Tuesday. We're going to have SCAPE and Region 9, Slow Money, First Southwest Community Fund, the town of Bayfield will speak as well to make sure food businesses out there, and including Ignacio, we have some folks coming from Vicedo and even Pagosa Springs, to come learn what is available to them as a food business to help them succeed. So if you have any interest in those things, you can take these. My email address is foodaccess@goodfoodcollective.org. If you want any of these things in digital form, otherwise I will leave them at the exit. You can grab them as you. Thank you.
Next meeting is August 8th, just a reminder, we've got another group coming in. So as they're being social and doing out, it's
I know.